So, Kamal, I think we'll start. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on efficient tax planning and ITR planning. We have with us Mr. Kamal Murarka today. Kamal is a chartered accountant with over 7 years of experience in the field of direct tax. Currently, he is tax expert and head of tax team at Tax to Win, a leading tax return filing portal that helps in filing your income tax returns. So they also provide CA-assisted services. Kamal has an extensive experience in tax and regulatory advisory in relation to individuals' Indian income as well as foreign income, gifts, capital gain, and inheritance taxation. He is very passionate about solving real life tax problems of the people with the help of technology. So, welcome everyone. Welcome, Kamal. Thank you for coming here and helping our users gain more insights regarding tax planning. So, we'll have a 25 to 30 minutes of webinar with Kamal telling you insights about efficient tax planning and ITR filing. And post that, you can post your queries in the chat box. We'll be taking those queries. So, I would request everyone to go on mute and enjoy the session. Over to you, Kamal.
Hello, yes, hi friends. Welcome all of you. So today basically we are going to discuss about the income tax return filing, how to save the tax, how to do efficient tax planning, how to follow the law and save the tax at the same time. So in the income tax law, there are various provisions, there are various deductions and exemptions by which we can avail the various types of tax benefits. So just we are starting from the basics. What is income tax return? Friends, income tax return is very simple. The yearly income which you are earning and all the details of taxes which you have paid during the financial year. All these details needs to be submitted to the income tax department or I can say to the government of India. So ये जो डिटेल्स हम सबमिट करते हैं इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट को और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को, सो वी नीड टू फिल ऑल दिस डिटेल्स इन द प्रेस्क्राइब्ड इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न फॉर्म. सो बेसिकली इस फॉर्म को फिल करके एंड इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट को सबमिट करना, बेसिकली दिस प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न. नाउ अब इसमें एक चीज ये आता है कि इस बार हम सबने देखा कि कोविड के रीजन से ड्यू डेट को लेके बड़ा कंफ्यूजन है. फाइनेंशियल ईयर 2018-19 की भी ड्यू डेट चेंज हो रही है, FY 19-20 की भी जो ड्यू डेट है वो चेंज हो रही है. सो फ्रेंड्स, लेट मी टेल यू, basically the due date for FY 18-19 is 30th September 2020 and due date for FY 19-20 is 30th November 2020. So for the year ended 31st March 2020, the due date for ITR filing is 30th November 2020. So you must file your ITR before this date. Now again one question came into the mind, whether it's compulsory for me to file the ITR, whether it's mandatory for me to file the ITR. So friends, let me tell you, as per the provisions of the income tax law, if your gross income, if your annual income exceeds rupees 2.5 lakh, means if your income exceeds rupees 2.5 lakh, it's compulsory for you to file the ITR. It's mandatory for you to file the ITR. So basically on an average I can say monthly income, if your monthly income is exceeding rupees 20,000 approx, then it's compulsory for you to file the ITR. You must file the ITR as per the provisions of the law. You have to file the ITR. Now again one question came into the mind, what will happen if I don't file the ITR? Friends, there are various provisions in the income tax law. Income tax department can charge you the late filing fees up to rupees 10,000 if you do not file the ITR or if you file the ITR after the due date. Apart from the late filing fees, the due taxes will be collected by the income tax department, and on the amount of tax, you also have to pay the penalty and interest. So if you do not file the ITR, if you do not pay the taxes, इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट may send you the income tax notice, may levy the late filing fees up to rupees 10,000, and interest, taxes and penalty also imposed if you non comply with the income tax law. So I will suggest always file the ITR and file the ITR before the due date. As I said, the due date for FY 2019-20 is 30th November 2020. So file your ITR before this date. Okay. So अभी रिसेंट जो लास्ट बजट आया है इसमें हम सबने सुना और काफी एक मार्केट में था कि एक न्यू टैक्स रिजिम लॉन्च हो गई है. द फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया हैज लॉन्च्ड न्यू अंडर सेक्शन 115 BAC. सो बहुत सारी क्वेरीज इन दिनों हमारे पास आ रही है कि विच रिजिम इज बेटर, वेदर ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम इज बेटर, वेदर न्यू टैक्स रिजिम इज बेटर, व्हाट विल हैपन इफ वी फॉलो द न्यू टैक्स रिजिम. फ्रेंड्स, लेट मी टेल यू न्यू टैक्स रिजिम के क्या फायदे हैं, क्या नुकसान है. द प्लस पॉइंट इज इसमें जो टैक्स रेट है, जो स्लैब रेट है वो कम है. जैसे ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम में अप टू 2.5 लाख देयर इज नो टैक्स. income tax rate between the 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh is 5%. Income tax rate between 5 lakh to 10 lakh is 20%. And the rate of tax, if your income exceeds rupees 10 lakh, it is 30%. So these are the slab rates as per the old tax regime. Now what they have proposed as per the new tax regime, again, if your income is up to rupees 2.5 lakh, there is no tax. Income between 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh, rate of income tax is same, that is 5%. Now from 5 lakh to 7.5 lakh, rate of income tax is 15%. From 7.5 lakh to 10 lakh, rate of tax is 20%. up to 12.5 lakh it's 25%. और तो यहाँ पे जो न्यू टैक्स रिजिम है इसके अंदर रेट ऑफ टैक्स कम है. ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम में rate of tax is high, and in the new tax regime rate of tax comparatively is low. But at the same time कुछ चीजें जो हमें ध्यान रखनी है, there are various deductions and exemptions which are not available in the new tax regime. Means if you are going in the new tax regime, then you cannot claim various deductions and exemptions. कौन कौन से वो डिडक्शंस एंड एग्जम्पशंस हैं? फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू आर क्लेमिंग द बेनिफिट ऑफ लीव ट्रेवल अलाउंस, दिस विल नॉट बी अवेलेबल इन द न्यू टैक्स रिजिम. हाउस रेंट अलाउंस, HRA, जो ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द सैलरी क्लास पर्संस क्लेमिंग दिस एग्जम्पशन, दिस विल नॉट बी अवेलेबल इन द न्यू टैक्स रिजिम. इसके अलावा भी जो होम लोन इंटरेस्ट का बेनिफिट मिलता है, रुपीज 2 लाख, if you are paying the home loan, then rupees 2 lakh can be claimed as a deduction under section 24. So this deduction cannot be claimed in the new tax regime. Standard deduction of rupees 50,000 is also not available in the new tax regime. इसके साथ में all the deductions under section 80C, that is the 1.5 lakh deduction section 80C, again this is also not available in the new tax regime. Section 80D, medical health insurance premium, this is also not available in the new tax regime. Friends, I can say all the exemptions and deductions are not available in the new tax regime. Only NPS contribution made by the employer is eligible under the new tax regime. Apart from this, section 80C, section 80D, section 80G donation, सेक्शन 80DD भी, जो भी डिसेबिलिटी जो डिसेबल्ड पर्सन्स हैं उनको जो डिडक्शंस मिलते हैं, सो ऑल दीज डिडक्शंस विल नॉट बी अवेलेबल इन द न्यू टैक्स रिजिम. नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन केम इनटू द माइंड. तो इतना सारा कंफ्यूजन है, ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम में सारे डिडक्शंस और एंड एग्जम्पशंस मिल जाएंगे, बट न्यू टैक्स रिजिम में स्लैब रेट तो कम है, रेट ऑफ टैक्स तो कम है, बट एट द सेम टाइम जो भी डिडक्शंस और एग्जम्पशंस हैं वो नहीं मिलेंगे. तो कैसे क्या करना चाहिए? फ्रेंड, इसका कोई फिक्स फॉर्मूला नहीं है. जो भी आपकी इनकम है और जो भी डिडक्शंस एंड एग्जम्पशंस व्हिच यू आर क्लेमिंग, उसके बेस पे यू हैव टू कैलकुलेट द टैक्स एज पर द ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम एंड यू हैव टू कैलकुलेट द टैक्स एज पर द न्यू टैक्स रिजिम. एंड दोनों में से जो भी कम आता है यू कैन गो विद दैट। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एक एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे आई कैन टेल यू, इफ योर इनकम इज ₹9 लाख, so in this case, if you are availing the deductions and exemptions up to ₹1,62,000, means this is the break even point. 1,62,000 की deductions and exemptions claim कर रहे हैं, तो इस लिमिट पे आप your tax will be equal in the new tax regime and old tax regime. So if your deductions and exemptions exceeds ₹1,62,000, old tax regime will be beneficial for you. And at the same time, if your deductions and exemptions below ₹1,62,000, new tax regime will be beneficial for you. Similar is the case if suppose if your annual income is ₹12 lakh, then in such a case, if your deductions and exemptions is ₹1,91,000, then tax will be equal in the both the regimes. But if your deductions and exemptions exceeds ₹1,91,000, all tax regime is beneficial for you. And if your deductions is below ₹1,91,000, then new tax regime will be beneficial for you. So suppose you have taken the home loan, you are making the repayment of interest, so you can claim the deduction up to ₹2 lakh. You are availing the ATC deductions of ₹1.5 lakh. So in nutshell, you are claiming the deductions and exemptions of ₹3.5 lakh. So in such a case, always and always, all tax regime will be beneficial for you. But at the same time, suppose you don't have any home loan, your ATC component is also very less. So in such a case, you need to compare the tax between both the regimes and need to choose the beneficial one. So इस पे कुछ कंफ्यूजन है तो आप इसको एक बार जरूर कंपेयर करें, लिस्ट आउट करें जो जो डिडक्शंस एंड एग्जम्पशंस आप क्लेम कर रहे हैं, या फिर आप अपने लास्ट ईयर के फॉर्म 16 के बेस पे प्लानिंग कर सकते हैं। सो आपका टैक्स दोनों रिजिम के अकॉर्डिंग कैलकुलेट कीजिए और उसके अकॉर्डिंग यू कैन डिसाइड। Friend, now the next way to save the tax is your CTC structure. Whenever you join the company, you can note, for example, someone is getting the CTC of ₹12 lakh. तो इस 12 लाख के अंदर भी कुछ कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं, आप सबको पता होगा, बेसिक सैलरी, HRA, LTA, फूड कूपन्स, और भी खूब सारे अलाउंसेस वगैरह होते हैं। तो ये जो CTC स्ट्रक्चर है, इसको भी ऑप्टिमाइज करके यू कैन सेव द टैक्स। फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू आर मेकिंग द रेंट पेमेंट फॉर योर हाउस एंड ऑल्सो यू आर रिसीविंग द HRA फ्रॉम योर एम्प्लॉयर, तो आप कितना रेंट पेमेंट कर रहे हैं उसके अकॉर्डिंग आप अपनी HRA की लिमिट फिक्स कर सकते हैं। देखिए, दो चीजें होती हैं, कुछ कंपनीज ये ऑप्शन नहीं देती कि आप अपना CTC को फ्लेक्सिबल कर सकते हैं, उसको रिस्ट्रक्चर कर सकते हैं। तो उस केस में तो आप ये वाला टैक्स ऑप्टिमाइज बाय वे ऑफ CTC स्ट्रक्चर नहीं कर पाएंगे। बट मेनी कंपनीज प्रोवाइड द ऑप्शन वेयर बाय यू कैन रिस्ट्रक्चर योर CTC and you can claim the benefits accordingly. So in that case, you need to calculate the various deductions and exemptions which are available to you, how much you are making the payment of rent, what component of HRA you are receiving, and there are set formulas by which these exemptions can be claimed, so you can fix the limit accordingly. At the same time, suppose your company is providing you the LTA and you are availing this benefit, mostly you are going to travel and you are incurring the expenditure on traveling. So in such a case, I will suggest you to take the LTA component in your CTC structure and utilize accordingly. If your traveling expenses are high, I will recommend to increase your LTA component in your CTC. If your traveling expenditure are comparatively less, then you can also take LTA component less from your CTC structure. Also, if there is provision of food coupon in your company, then you can take the food coupons and you can avail the exemptions up to ₹2,600, 400. So by way of restructuring your CTC, you can also save the tax. The next, which are we frequently, this is the query from many clients. Suppose this is related to HRA exemption. Suppose if you are paying to rent, then no issue, you can claim the HRA benefit. But many times what happens, you are living with your parents. So many people ask the question whether we can claim the benefit of HRA. Yes, even if you are living with your parents, you can claim the benefit of HRA, but you need to take care for the few points. For example, if the house is in the name of your father, so you must pay the rent to your father. uh, this rent must be paid by way of bank, so that you can prove in the future to the income tax department that you have actually paid the rent to your father. And also you must execute the rent deed with your father. So if you are fulfilling these two conditions, then even if you are living with your parents and if you are making the payment to your parents, you have the agreement with you can claim the benefit of HRA. But do not forget to add this rental income in your father's ITR. Suppose if your father is also earning good and he is in the slab of 50%, then there will be no sense to do this tax planning, as ultimately tax have to do. But suppose your father is a, for example, retired person, or if he is into this slab of 5%, 20%, then you can do this tax planning. You can calculate your tax saving. You can calculate the tax liability into your in the hands of your father, if any, and accordingly you can do this tax planning. You can pay the rent to your father, and you can take the exemption of HRA. You can save the tax. Many times we receive the question, uh, some salary class persons, either they do not have the HRA component in their salary structure. Some private companies do not specify the CTC structure. Or suppose you are not a salary class person, you are a freelancing person, and at the same time you are making the rental payment. So what to do? So in such a case, you can take the benefit as per section 80 double G. So even if you are not receiving the HRA from your employer and you are making the rental payment for your home, for your house, then also you can claim the uh, tax benefit on your rental payments as per section 80 double G. There are few conditions which you need to fulfill, and accordingly you can claim the benefits. So next, what are the various deductions which you can claim? Friend, very popular section 80C. You can claim the deduction up to rupees 1,50,000. You can purchase the specified mutual funds 80C, Sukanya Samriddhi scheme. You can deposit the money into the NPS account. You can purchase the bank 5 years FDR. You can purchase the NSC bonds. You can purchase the post office FDR. You can make the investment into the PPF account. All these investments are eligible under section 80C, including your PF contribution is also eligible under section 80C, and the upper limit of deduction is rupees 1,50,000. Apart from 80C, you can further invest 50,000 under NPS account, National Pension Scheme. So this 50,000 is available as a deduction above rupees 1.5 lakh. So total rupees 2 lakh you can claim as a deduction, 1.5 lakh under section 80C and 50,000 under section 80CCD1B, that is the contribution in NPS. The next thing which I will suggest you, if your employer allow this, if your employer making the NPS contribution on your behalf, then this is available as a deduction apart from 80C. So apart from rupees 2 lakh, suppose you are having the CTC of rupees 20 lakh and having the basic salary of rupees 10 lakh. So in such a case, the 10% of rupees 10 lakh means 1 lakh. If your employer is making 1 lakh in the NPS account on your behalf, then you can take the deduction of this rupees 1 lakh. So total deduction you can avail rupees 3 lakh. 1.5 lakh under section 80C, 50,000 under section 80CC D1B, that is NPS contribution made by you, and 1 lakh and NPS contribution made by your employer on your behalf. So overall, you can take the deduction of rupees 3 lakh. So if your employer allow this, then you can make the investment in NPS via your employer also. This will help you to save the tax. Apart from this, under section 80D, if you are making the payment of health insurance policies, you can claim the deduction under section 80D. The limit is rupees 25,000 for you and your family. Family includes your wife and children. Apart from you, you can also take the benefit of 55,000 if you are making the payment for life insurance, for medical insurance premium of your parents. So you can take the deduction 25,000 for your premium and separately 25,000 for the premium paid for your parents. And also please note, if the age of your parents is more than 60, then in such a case the limit is rupees 50,000. So in such a case, you can take the deduction 50,000 for the premium paid for your parents and 25,000 for the premium paid for you. And also in case age is 60 plus you and your wife, then in such a case the limit is rupees 50,000. Please note one point, this is very important. Many people do not know this thing. Suppose your parents are senior citizen and they do not have the health insurance policies, and there is some disease and you need to admit them in the hospital and you are incurring the expenditure. So in such a case, you can further claim the deduction of rupees 50,000 of the medical expenditures. Means the medical expenditures payment which you made to the hospitals are also eligible under section 80D, and you can claim the benefits for this payment also. तो जब भी आपको ऐसा कुछ कभी आपको पेमेंट करना पड़े, आप इसके लिए जरूर से ध्यान रखें एंड इसका बेनिफिट आप जरूर से लेवें. इनके अलावा यदि आपके घर में कोई हैंडीकैप्ड पर्सन है, मेरे पास एक्चुअली कुछ कुछ रिक्वेस्ट आ रही है कि हिंदी प्लस इंग्लिश दोनों को, तो मैं इसको मिक्स रख रहा हूँ. यदि आपके घर में कुछ हैंडीकैप्ड पर्सन यदि है, तो इन सच ए केस यदि डिसेबिलिटी 40% से एक्सीड है, तो उस केस में आप 75,000 का डिडक्शन यू कैन क्लेम. और यदि डिसेबिलिटी 80% और उससे ज्यादा है, इन सच ए केस यू कैन क्लेम द डिडक्शन ऑफ रुपीज 1,25,000. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, मैंने एनपीएस का आपको बताया. एजुकेशन लोन है, उसका लोन का यदि आप रीपेमेंट कर रहे हैं, उसका भी आप बेनिफिट ले सकते हैं. तो ये सारे डिडक्शंस एंड एग्जम्पशंस हैं जो आप जब भी आईटीआर फाइल करें, सबका बेनिफिट आप जरूर से लेवें. अब फ्रेंड्स, नेक्स्ट थिंग ये है कि जो भी आपके आप सबने देखा होगा.
Sorry to interrupt. If you could continue in English, actually. So some of the clients are from different locations, different regions in India.
Okay.
So they are asking to continue in English. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, so you all noted this point. In the beginning of the year, you need to submit the various declaration to your employer, like what is the rental payment, what is the ATC deductions which you will avail in the future. You need to make this declaration to your employer. So always do remember to submit this declaration to your employer in the beginning of the year, and at the end of the year you also need to submit the various proofs of your investments, like rental payment proof, rent receipt which you must have received from your landlord, the ATC deductions. For example, you have made the payment of life insurance policies, health insurance policies, then you need to submit the proof to your employer, so that your employer can consider all the available deductions and exemptions in your case, and he can deduct the TDS accordingly. So do not forget to submit these proofs to your employer. Many times what happens, suppose you were not able to submit these proofs to the employer, and the TDS has been deducted by the employer. Now question arises, whether we can claim the refund, whether we can claim the benefit of these deductions. Friend, the answer yes, you can claim the benefit at the time of filing of ITR also. Suppose you have not taken the HRA benefit with your employer, you forgot to declare your medical health insurance premium to your employer, you have purchased the mutual funds which are eligible under section 80C. So you can claim these benefits at the time of filing of ITR also. In such a case, you will be eligible for the refund, and the income tax department will issue the refund to you, and you can claim the refund at the time of filing of the ITR. Friend, one more point which is relevant, if your income is near around 5 lakh, so up to rupees 5 lakh, there is no tax. Earlier up to rupees 3 lakh, there was no tax, but now for FY 1920, if your income is up to rupees 5 lakh, then there will be no tax liability in your hands. For example, if you are earning the salary income or other income, for example, 4 lakh, 4 lakh 50,000 or 4 lakh 80,000, in such a case, there will be no tax liability. I'm just taking one example. Suppose your total salary income is rupees 7 lakh and you are availing the ATC deduction of rupees 1.5 lakh. Then in such a case, you are eligible standard deduction of 50,000. You are eligible for the ATC deduction of rupees 1.5 lakh. Your total salary income is rupees 7 lakh less 50,000 of deduction less 1 lakh 50,000 of ATC deduction. Net income is rupees 5 lakh. In such a case, there will be no tax liability. Even the TDS has been deducted by your employer, you can claim the refund of this TDS amount. Now, practically, what happens? Suppose your salary is 7 lakh 5,000. Then, in such a case, income will be rupees 5 lakh 5,000. And if income exceeds rupees 5 lakh, then in such a case, tax liability will be there. You will not be able to claim the benefit if your income is up to 5 lakh. Okay. So what to do? Suppose if your income is slightly exceeding 5 lakh, then in
Kamal, can
such a
you
case,
just, sorry to interrupt, can you repeat the last point because your voice went off a little bit
okay,
due to
okay, okay,
network
okay.
issues, no?
Yeah, sure, sure. I'm just repeating the point. Suppose your income rupees 5 lakh. For example, after taking the benefit of ATC deduction and standard deduction, for example, your income net total income is rupees 5 lakh 2,000. Then if your income is up to rupees 5 lakh, tax is zero. But the moment your income exceeds rupees 5 lakh, tax liability will be there. So for example, if your income is rupees 5 lakh 2,000, as per the provisions of the income tax law, your tax liability will be approx rupees 13,000. So in such a case, what you can do, you can avail the any deduction of rupees 2,000. For example, you have not taken deduction of TD, then you can make the payment of 2,000 as a premium for health insurance, or you can make the donation of rupees 2,000 as approved by the government. So by making this expenditure of rupees 2,000 will save you the tax of rupees 13,000. So if your income is 5 lakh 2,000, tax liability will be 13,000. So by making of donation of just rupees 2,000, you will save 11,000. And for example, if your income is rupees 5 lakh 5,000, in such a case, tax liability will be approx 14,000. So you can make the donation of rupees 5,000 and you can save the remaining 14,000. You can make the donation, or you can, if your ATC is not getting exhausted, you can further make the investment under section 80C. uh, you can make the payment of health insurance premium, and if all these limits has been exhausted, then you can make the donation under section 80G and you can claim the benefit accordingly. Friend, next one more thing, many times we are investing in the bank FDRs. So the interest which we are receiving from the bank is taxable. So suppose if your parents are senior citizen and do not earning high income, or they are into the slab of 5% or 10%, and you are into the slab of 30%, so in such a case, I will suggest you can prepare the FDR in your father's name. Means you need to transfer the fund in the name of your father, and then you can invest in the FD. So the interest which is earning will be taxable in your father. So in case of senior citizen, interest up to rupees 50,000 will not be taxable. And also, suppose if they are into the bracket of 5% or 20%, so in such a case they need to pay the lesser tax. If you are in the slab of 30%, then you need to pay the tax at the rate of 30%. And suppose your father gross income is 4 lakh, 5 lakh, then in such a case there will be no tax liability. So you can check the situation, you can check the facts, whether it's possible for you, and if yes, then you can do the tax planning by this method also. And do not forget to include the saving bank interest, bank FDR interest in your ITR. The interest which you are earning on your FDR, and if TDS is deducted, you can check this amount in your 26 years. And for the saving bank interest, you can take this amount online from your bank account, and the saving bank interest is eligible up to rupees 10,000 as a deduction. So you can claim the deduction also. Next, many times people are going to buy the home and taking the home loan. So in such a case, if both husband and wife is working, then I will recommend to in such a case, take the home loan in the joint name and take the property in the joint name. So what will happen? Both you and your wife, or both you and your spouse will be eligible to take the tax benefits on home loan. The interest which you are making payment to the bank is available as a deduction of rupees 2 lakh. The principal repayment is also available as a deduction up to rupees 1.5 lakh under section 80C. So if house is both in your and your wife name, and the home loan is also both in your and your wife name, then in such a case both of you can claim both the benefits. So I recommend, if both of you are working, then take the home loan in joint name and take the property in joint name. There is one new section, section 80EEA. Suppose you have taken the home loan in FY 1920, or even if you have taken the home loan in FY 2021, means if you are taking the loan up to 31st March 2021, then in such a case, additional 1,50,000 deduction is available for the interest repayment. So in such a case, total you can take the benefit of deduction of rupees 3 lakh, 2 lakh as a normal deduction under section 24, and 1,50,000 as per section 80 EEA. So total for interest repayment, you can take the deduction of rupees 3.5 lakh. Say HRA tax exemption. I think voice problem is there. Okay, so one last point. Suppose your father or mother or your parents are not working and they are making for the health insurance premium. Then in such a case, I will suggest do the payment from your bank account so that you can take this benefit and claim this benefit in your. Okay, so Harsi, that's all from my side. We can take up the questions. Hello.
Yeah, sure, Kamal. I'll tell you the queries that have come.
Yes, yes.
Just give me a moment. I'll start from the first query that is there. So, first question is, my question is, I started working in July 19 and I am new to ITR filing, and I have filed ITR without paying the amount. which was shown to pay while filing ITR. What I should do in such case?
Okay. So, see, if you have filed your ITR without making the tax payment, then you need to check whether there is tax payable or not. If there is no tax payable, then there is no issue. If there is tax payable, then you must have received the intimation under section 143(1), and you can check the tax payable amount from there, and you need to pay the tax now. So I will suggest check your email ID, or you can check online on income tax website account also, and you can pay the tax now, no issue.
So next question is the businessman choose only new slab according, can the businessman choose only new slab according to new tax regime, or they choose only once?
Yes,
Because for
business.
salaried person, as we know, they switched our tax slab if they want. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Similar to salary class persons having the business income is also eligible for the new tax regime. But point which you need to be take care, once you have opted for the new tax regime, you cannot go again on the old tax regime. And if you go, for example, you have taken the new tax regime. Now, in 1 year, you have taken the new tax regime. In the next year, you have again taken the old tax regime. So, once if you have taken the old tax regime, in such a case, you will not be eligible to avail the old tax regime. Sorry, new tax regime. Means once you have opted for the new tax regime, you have to continue with that. So you just need to take care of this point, else all provisions are same.
Yeah. So next question is, am I allowed to choose between new and old regime always?
Yes, in case of salary class persons, every year you are free to choose any regime, whether it's a old tax regime or new tax regime. Like I said, in case you are having the business income, then once you opted out from the new tax regime, in future you cannot avail again the new tax regime.
Yeah, Kamal. So next question is, I saw somewhere section 10D is applicable in new regime also.
Yes, yes, yes. Means if you are receiving the amount section 10, then these exemptions are eligible under the new tax regime also. Suppose you are withdrawing your PPF fund after 5 years, so this is exempt in the both in the both regimes, old tax regime and new tax regime also.
So next question is, my father-in-law required refund from income tax for the year 2010-11. He has passed away in the year September 2011. We did not get the refund required, so we filed income tax returns on 2015. They said we will get returns, but still did not get any returns. Please note, return is not filed online. How do we handle this? Is there a limit by when we need to file income tax refund?
Yes, as per the provisions of the income tax law, the ITR must be filed within the time frame allowed. So your return was filed beyond the time which is allowed by the income tax department. So in such a case, what you can do, you need to visit the income tax department physically. You need to meet with the commissioner of income tax. You need to disclose all the facts. Then if commissioner approves your claim, only in that case you are eligible for the refund. So you can try for your refund in this way once.
Yeah. So, Kamal, next question is new tax regime applicable for FY 2019-20 as well?
No, 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 no. New tax regime is applicable from FY 2021. So for FY 1920, new tax regime option is not available.
Okay. So, next question is, can money paid towards paying guest be claimed under HRA?
Towards paying guest, yes, paying guest is also similar to payment of rent. But one point you need to be take care. Suppose you are making only the payment of rental, then this is available for deduction. But if you are making the payment for both food and for rent, then in such a case, only rental amount will be eligible for the purpose of HRA. Payment which you are making for the food is not eligible for the purpose of HRA. So you can get the bifurcation from the landlord or from the जहाँ पे भी आप पेमेंट कर रहे हैं, and accordingly you can claim the benefit for the rent which you are making payment.
Yeah. So next question is who should file which ITR? ITR 1, ITR 2 and ITR 3.
See, in case you are having only salary income, or you are having the income from one house property, or if you are having the income from other sources like interest income, etc., then you can file the ITR 1. But if your total income exceeds rupees 50 lakh, or if you are holding the shares of any unlisted company, in such a case you cannot file the ITR 1. Next, ITR 2, if you are having the income from salary income, income from house property, even two or more house property, income from other sources, foreign income, income from capital gain, even if you are non-resident, in such a case, you can file the ITR 2. In case you are having the income from business or profession, you need to file the ITR 3. In case you are filing your ITR as per the scheme of presumptive taxation, means as per the provisions of section 44 AD and 44 ADA, having the business income, in such a case ITR 4 is applicable, and ITR 5 is applicable for partnership firms, LLP, like body of individuals, etc. ITR 6 is applicable for company, and so on. Yes, next question.
Yeah, so Kamal, next question is what happens to encashment of earned leaves when an employee changes company in the middle of the year? There is a limit to tax exemption based on number of years in basic salary calculation. How is the provided for that? How is the proof provided for that, and how is the tax treatment?
See, in such a case, there are various provisions, there are certain limits. So you need to take the details from the employer for what time period your leave has been encased, and then you need to check as per the parameters specified. So you need to calculate as per the formulas, and accordingly you need to calculate your leave encasement amount. But normally, let me tell you, this is taxable, but need to check all the conditions, all the limits, all the criteria, and accordingly this can be calculated as per the on the basis of case to case.
So next question is in case of rented property, if the house is vacant for a few months, what is the tax treatment?
Yes, in such a case, no issues. What the actual rent you have received, you need to pay the tax on that amount. As per the provisions of section 22, section 23, you need to calculate the fair rent of that area, and from the fair rent, you can deduct the amount which you have not realized due to vacancy of home. So after deducting this amount and compare this amount from your actual rent received, so whichever is higher, on the figure of higher amount you need to pay the tax, and in such a case you can take the benefit of home loan interest repayment, if any. Yes.
So next question is it advisable to go for car lease benefit offered by employer? What is its impact on tax liability?
See, this totally depends on your CTC structure. What is the arrangement with you and your employer? Uh, what kind of facility is being provided to you? So I will not be able to give the answer without having the facts. So you can mail us this query, and we will send you the answer as per the facts of the case.
So, how can I convert an individual to corporate subscriber for NPS? So NPS, I
So
think, will you be able to comment, Kamal?
yes, yes. As I said in the earlier session, if you are making the investment for the NPS, you are eligible overall for rupees 2 lakh, 80C as per section 1.5 lakh, and 50,000 under section 80 CCD 1B. So if you are making the NPS payment, overall you can claim the deduction up to rupees 2 lakh. And if your employer is also contributing in the NPS account on your behalf, then in such a case, additional benefit can be taken up to 10% of basic of salary. So up to these limits, you can claim the deduction.
Yeah. So Rajan, also adding to Kamal's point, there is a provision via which you can transfer your individual NPS account to corporate NPS account. You can drop a query on this to customer care at the rate life99.in. We'll get it resolved. Yeah. So next
Yes, yes.
question is, yeah, new or old tax regime is beneficial for savings and investment. Which of them is better, new or old tax regime?
Actually, as I said, each and every case you need to calculate the tax as per the old tax regime and as per the new tax regime. Like I said, if you are availing the more deductions and exemptions, then old tax regime will be beneficial for you. If your deductions and exemptions are comparatively lower, then it may be new tax regime is beneficial for you. So you need to calculate what is your income amount, what is the deductions and exemptions which are you availing, and what is the tax liability as per the old tax regime and as per the new tax regime. So this need to be calculated on the basis of amount of income and amount of deductions and exemptions. You can mail your query to us. We will calculate the taxes as per the both approach, and we will let you know which one is beneficial for you.
Yeah, so next question is, which platform or plans do you suggest for better tax saving? So Lakshmi, here I would also like to tell you that we have associated with Tax to Win, and we are also providing tax services on Life 99, which are powered by Tax to Win itself. And to tell you guys, we are also offering flat 25% discount for the CA assisted services if you choose to avail the tax services via Life 99 platform. Do you want to add, Kamal, something on this? So she's asking for some of the platforms and plans you suggest for better tax saving.
Yes, yes. You can visit on Text to Win via Life 99 website. There are various plans depending upon your requirement. So as per your requirement, you can choose the plan, and the best tax services will be provided. Yes.
So next question is, last date to make investment under NPS to file ITR FY 1920 in November 20 is November 20.
For the FY 1920, the last date was 31st July, due to which means up to this date you can make the investment. But now this date has been gone. Now you cannot take the benefit in the FY 1920 if you have not invested up to 31st March 2020.
Can we
Yes.
claim the amount invested till July 2020?
Yes, yes, yes. If you have made the investment up to 31st March 2020, then you can take the benefit of this investment in the ITR of FY 1920. This is allowed by the Government of India due to COVID-19 pandemic.
No, so Kamal, he's asking if 31st July, till 31st July 2020, they have made some investments. So between April, May, June, July 2020, will these investments, can these investments be considered under FY 1920?
Yes, yes, yes. You can consider these deductions in the ITR of FY 1920. This is allowed. But if you are taking the benefit of these investments in the FY 1920, then you cannot claim the benefit of the same amount in the FY 2021. Means you can take the benefit either one year, either in the FY 1920 or in the FY 2021, in any one year.
Sodexo Meal Pass has tax benefits. If yes, under which section? So does Sodexo Meal Passes have tax benefits?
Yes, yes. As per Section 10, subsection 14, you can claim the Sodexo food coupons up to the limit of 26,400. Means this is allowed 50 rupees per meal. So assuming 22 days in a month, and if I count both the meals in the office, then the limit is rupees 26,400. If only 1 meal is considered in the office, then the limit is rupees 13,200 as per section 10 subsection 14.
Yeah. So for FY 2019-2020, what is the last date for submitting returns and paying tax?
For FY 1920, due date is 30th November. Means you can file your ITR and you can pay the tax till 30th November 2020. Point need to be taken care. If your advance tax liability means self-assessment tax liability exceeds rupees 1 lakh, then you must not wait till November. You must pay this as soon as possible because interest will be applicable if your self-assessment tax liability exceeds rupees 1 lakh. So if you want to save the tax and if your tax liability exceeds rupees 1 lakh, pay this amount as soon as possible so that interest as per section 234A will not be charged. Otherwise, it will be applicable for the delayed period. Yes.
If salaried employees receive dividend amount of less than 1 to 2,000 per year, should it be disclosed just like savings account interest? Is there any threshold limit for dividend tax?
Yes, for the FY 1920, dividend up to rupees 10 lakh is exempt in the hands of shareholder, in the hands of salary class person. But from next year, means from FY 2021, dividend will be taxable in the hands of shareholder only. So suppose even if you are receiving the dividend of rupees 1000 only, then even this small amount will be taxable in your hand. You need to consider this amount in your ITR. But if you received this amount in the financial year 2019-20, that is before 31st March 2020, then it will not be.
So, in case of self-income payer, what is the last date of paying tax for FY20?
Yes, the answer is same, which is just I told for the salary class person. You need to file the ITR and you need to pay the tax up to the due date of 30th November 2020. And if your self assessment tax liability exceeds 1 lakh, then pay as soon as possible. Otherwise, interest at the rate of 1% as per section 234A will be applicable. Yes.
So I have received FD interest for FY20, which is again reinvented along with interest. There is no entry reflecting in 26AS form. So how to file this in ITR? There is no TDS applicable as interest income is within limit.
Sorry, can you please repeat the query?
Yeah, so the customer has received FD interest for FY 1920, which is again reinvented along with interest. There is no entry reflecting in 26A form. So, how to file this in ITR? There is no TDS applicable as interest income is within limit. Hello, Kamal, am I audible to you?
And
Yeah, yes.
accordingly, you can consider the
Yeah. Okay. I actually lost you. Can you just repeat the last point?
hello.
Yeah, now it's audible.
Yes, I just yes, yes. Means if the interest amount is not reflecting in your 26 years, then in such a case, you can take the FDR statement from the bank. And on the basis of this statement, you can take the amount of interest income and you can consider in your ITR. If the TDS is not deducted, then many time it happens, it will not be reflecting in the 26 years. Yes.
So for salaried employees receiving capital gains tax treatment is based on capital gains taking into account indexation inflation. Therefore, what documents are needed to prove the exact amount?
This depends the nature of capital income which you are earning. Suppose you are earning the capital gain on F&O shares transaction, then you can take the broker statement from your broker. if you have sold the house property or property, then the sale deed and purchase deed will be relevant for the purpose of calculation. So this depends on the nature of income. Mostly if you are having the F&O options or share trading, then you can take the broker statement from a broker, and income can be calculated on these on the basis of these broker statements.
So if parents are retired and have no other source of income, if I make deposits in their name and if interest exceeds 50K per year, should my parents pay tax on interest income?
No, no. If they are retired, then in such a case, up to rupees 5 lakh, there will be no tax. So even, for example, you are receiving the interest of rupees 2 lakh, then there will be no tax liability in the hands of your parents. So it is advisable for you to make the FDR in the name of your parents and enjoy the tax benefit.
So my wife has some income as STCG and LATCH apart from income from FD interest. Which ITR form will be used for filing ITR?
If you are having the long-term capital gain, then ITR 2 will be applicable for you. All the capital gains needs to be reported in the ITR 2. Yes.
Yeah, so next question is, what is the tax rate for short-term capital gain for FY20?
This depends if you are earning the short-term capital gain from the shares transactions and STT paid transactions or equity-oriented mutual funds, then the rate of tax is 15%, 15%. Or other than these short-term capital gain, all short-term capital gain will be taxable as per the slab rate. Means if you are into the slab of 20%, these will be taxable at the rate of 20%. If your income exceeds 10 lakh, then short-term capital gain will also be taxable at the rate of 30%. Yes.
If a salaried employee also does some freelancing and earns income, which ITR form should we file? How should we prove the actual income?
Yes, if your services are of the nature of professional income, then you can use the ITR 4. And if your services are of not of professional nature, then in such a case, you need to file the ITR 3. Regarding how to decide the amount of income, so you need to calculate the total amount which you have received during the year, and you can deduct the expenditure which is incurred for the purpose of rendering the services. For example, traveling expenses, internet expenses, laptop expenses, any meeting expenses, any advertising expenses, all these expenses you can deduct from the amount which you have received and the net amount you need to offer in your income tax return. Yes.
What is the exemption limit for senior citizen as far as interest on FD savings are concerned?
Yes, for senior citizens, FDR interest or other interest income up to rupees 50,000, there is no tax. And if you are, for example, you are receiving the interest amount of rupees 75,000, then up to 50,000, there is no tax. Remaining 25,000 is taxable as per the slab rate. Yes.
Can we claim housing loan benefits for site purchase, or we should claim benefit once we start building the house? So if we have taken loan for site and construction, both can be claimed during that time?
No, 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 no. Interest on home loan, the benefit is available only after the construction is completed. If the construction is going on, then you cannot claim the benefit in the ITR. Once the construction is completed, then even the amount of interest which you have paid before the construction completion period, you can claim this amount 20% in the subsequent 5 years. So up to the year in which the construction is completed, you cannot take the benefit of interest repayment. Once the construction is completed, you can claim the benefit. Yes.
So, if tax paid for 2 quarters out of the 4 quarters in FY20, still tax liability with certain percentage will be applicable for remaining 2 quarters?
Yes, actually, you need to calculate your tax liability as per the provisions of the law. If your yearly tax liability after considering the TDS exceeds rupees 10,000, then in such a case, every quarter you have to pay the tax. So you need to estimate your total yearly tax liability after the TDS amount, divide this amount into the four parts, and you need to pay this amount every quarter. Suppose in first quarter or in second quarter, if you have already paid the excess tax, then there is no requirement to pay the tax as you have already paid the excess tax. Yes.
So this is one last question, Kamal. My
Mhm.
mother-in-law gets income from rental source. Which ITR should be filed?
If they are receiving the rental income only from one house property, then ITR 1 can be used. If they are receiving the rental income from two or more than two house property, in such a case, ITR 2 will be applicable.
So just two more questions that have come, and we can end after that. If an employee
Okay.
changes company and encashes earned leave for taxation on encashment of earned leaves, what is the procedure? Is it more like a self-assessment tax where employee does the tax calculation himself and discloses in the IT form, or should we submit any form 16, etc., to prove
No,
the
no,
income and exemption?
you need not to worry. This will automatically be considered by your employer in the Form 16. So you need not to consider this for the purpose of paying tax. But yes, at the time of filing of ITR, you can cross check whether you are eligible for additional amount. And if yes, then you can claim this additional amount in your ITR. Otherwise, you need not to worry on this. Yes.
So I have attained the age of 60 years and I was superannuated on 26 February. So 26 Jan, the person turned 60 years and 26 February he turns superannuated. Shall I be filing returns for FY20 as senior citizen?
Yes, yes, yes. If up to the period of 31st March you have attained the age of 60 years, you will be considered as a senior citizen for that year also. So in your case, you are a senior citizen for the purpose of income tax law. Yes.
So thank you everyone. Thank you Kamal for joining us today. For rest of the queries, request you to please write to us at customercare@life99.in. We'll forward your queries related to tax to Kamal and his team. Please do write to us. Due to timing constraints, we'll have to end it right now. Thank you Kamal for joining us today. Thank you everyone for coming to the
Thank you so
webinar.
much.
And
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So,
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kamal.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.